Welcome everybody to Bespoke Bridal Looks. So a little bit about me. I have been in the lash industry for over 10 years now and a lash educator for over 6 years. I absolutely love this industry and want to help elevate others. Some of my hobbies include baking and violin and crafting. I got married in 2025. I have become known in the bridal industry in my area for my work, and I have worked on hundreds of brides over my career. So as lash artists, we kind of have to be the investigators. We have to put the puzzle pieces together when we're working with a bride. We have to take into consideration a whole bunch of factors, and with those, pull them all together and create a custom lash map for our brides. So some of the things that we have to take into consideration when we're working with the bride is facial features. What are the client's key eye and facial features? What are contraindications? So let's say they have a deep set eye. We don't really want to be doing something super curly on them. Just making note of those sorts of things before we start our map. We also want to be looking at inspo pictures. Now, when I say inspo pictures, I don't mean just looking at lash inspo pictures. Working with a bride, you really want to be getting a well-rounded vision of what they want to look like on their wedding day. So for instance, if a bride is showing you lash inspo pictures of mega volume, but her makeup inspo for her artist is really natural, we want to be making sure that we're kind of guiding her along and taking all of the information in to put together the puzzle. We also want to take into consideration her wants, her dislikes. So what is her goal? What is she trying to achieve? Is there anything that she loves about lashes? Is there anything that she hates? Does she hate a cat eye? Does she really want an open eye? We want to take those things and add them into our brain so that we can really nail it on the first try. We also want to have a lot of conversation with her, make the bride feel comfortable and heard, sharing past experiences, and really just building that trust with her. Why our bridal appointments need to be treated differently? So with brides, there is exponentially more risk versus just a normal full set of lashes. Communication, styling, retention, and scheduling needs to be on point. So my recommendation for bridal appointments is we need to have a really good initial conversation before we're even booking her in. We need to have a really in-depth in-person consultation, and I recommend a minimum of 2 full sets. I never like to do a full set on a bride for the first time the day before her wedding. I want to decrease the amount of risk that we have of her not liking them or wanting something adjusted. If you do a full set the day before and she doesn't like them and is panicking, having to reach out to other artists because she's, let's say, shy and doesn't want to reach back out to you, having to get them removed, we don't want that stress on her. So having those at least 2 full sets before gives you the wiggle room to ensure that you're giving her exactly what she wants for her wedding day. So in our initial conversation, when a bride first reaches out, we need to be asking the right questions, and we also need to be providing them with as much information to ensure our success as a team. So the first thing I always ask is, when is the wedding date / other bridal event dates? I want to make sure that I am actually available for all of her dates before I just say yes. A lot of the time, someone will reach out and say, hey, I want you to do my lashes for my wedding. And you go, okay, awesome, just book in before. And then it's 2 weeks before her wedding and she's reaching out to you and you're like, oh shoot, I'm actually on vacation and I can't really help you. So I like to make sure that my schedule is going to align with hers before we take the conversation any further. I also always make sure to recommend them the 2 full sets before. That's the minimum. If they want to do more, that's even better. And I also like to ask, have you ever had lash extensions before? If so, what types? What did you like about them? What did you dislike? And then I always let them know to have bridal makeup inspo pics. So whatever they're going to give their makeup artist, I want them to bring to their lash appointment as well, just to help with our consultation process. And I always have them send me a full face selfie before they show up to the appointment and the consultation. This allows me to kind of prepare in advance to know what I'm working with, what types of lashes I'm going to want to have on hand. And I just like to have the most amount of information possible before we go ahead. Also, just to note, these are all brides that I've actually worked on. So everyone with the name underneath, these are my brides and photos that I've gotten of my work. So we're going to do a case study. So this is one of my brides I did last year. So we have our bride Kat, and as you can see here, I have listed all of her wedding dates that she wants lashes for. So I get all of those, make sure that I'm available. I have them noted in my calendar so that if I'm going to agree to it, I work my schedule around my brides. If I am planning a vacation for September, I'm like, well, I need to be available on those days so that I'm not interfering with, what I've agreed to. I also like to get her lash history. So she's had lash extensions on and off over the years. She generally doesn't wear lashes. She doesn't get extensions on a regular basis. She just wears mascara. With the exceptions of events, she will occasionally put on a strip lash. Her goals are soft glam. She likes wispy and natural. She's unsure of what shape is going to be the best for her eyes. She's thinking maybe a half set, maybe brown. She doesn't know. So I like to do a facial analysis on all of my brides. So her face shape is a soft oval / a heart shape. She has a soft arch, but a low set bone. So her brow bone is quite close to the crease of her eyelid. So that tells me that we're not going to be able to do something super long or curly. She does have an upturned plane, so a cat eye could look nice. So the things I want to avoid: strong curls, long lengths. She doesn't want too much density. If you are not comfortable with facial and eye analysis, it's not your jam, I highly recommend taking our lash style course. It goes through all of this extremely in depth. It's a cutting edge masterclass that focuses on looking at face and eye shapes to determine the best possible fit for your client. This is on Sugar Lash Pro's website. And like I said, if it's not your jam and you're not comfortable with it, I recommend taking some continued education in this. And this is an awesome course to get you up to speed. So something that I do before my client comes for their consultation and first full set is I like to do digital lash renderings. So with all of the information that I've gathered, her facial analysis, I have her selfie, I have her wants and dislikes, somewhat what she's looking for. I like to prep digital lash renderings before she shows up so that when she arrives, I can showcase what different styles might look on her and we can really pinpoint what she wants. So it helps to build trust with the client. It identifies their idea of long, thick, wispy, and it shows them a whole variety of lash looks and what they would look like on her face. It's something that I often run into with clients where they'll say, I don't want them long. And my idea of a long lash might be completely different from their idea of a long lash. So by drawing it on and showcasing what I think long is on them, it could be completely off. They might go, oh, like, why are these so short? I want them longer than that. And it kind of gives us a starting point to work off of. So how I like to do digital renderings is with the app Procreate. You could upload your client's selfie onto Procreate and you can draw individually little strokes. It is a little bit of a learning curve, so I recommend playing around with it. I personally like to do it on my iPad, but you can do it on your phone as well. So there's other, I think you can use Illustrator as well, but Procreate is my go-to. So I'm going to show you some of the renderings that I have done for her. So I've done a variety of different styles just so I can see what does she like, what does she dislike. So we have an anime, a really thick, spiky kind of look, and a light volume. And then I also wanted to show her what the difference would look like between a brown wispy set versus a black wispy set. So as you can see, it's a lot softer, it's a lot lighter, and you can get away with doing a little bit longer without it being as harsh. And then we also have a half set and then a really natural kind of classic-y look. So when she comes in for her consultation before the full set, this is when I would show her all of these options and kind of get a feel of what she doesn't like, what she loves. And it just gives us kind of like it eases her and makes her more comfortable and can show her what I could do. So at the in-person consultation, we're going over lash history, likes, dislikes. We're going and looking at her inspo photos of lash renderings. We're looking at her makeup bridal inspo, her lash inspo, and we're creating a map, taking all of this information into consideration and constructing what we think would be best for her. Oops. So the bridal map that we ended up picking was kind of a mix between the light volume and the classic. She didn't want the half set. She wanted the lashes to go all the way to the inner corner. So we ended up doing top layer 3D 0.10 cc curl closed fans. So almost like a classic-y kind of top layer, but a little bit fuller. And then on the mid to bottom layer, we did 2 to 4D 0.07 C curl in a medium width fan to add density to her base so that she got a little bit more of the glam appearance. And here is Kat on her wedding day rocking the set. And she was extremely happy, comfortable. There was no point where she didn't trust me or was nervous. And that's, by design, by how we set up the appointment before. So why take on bridal clients if it's more work for you as the artist? It can be a little bit more stressful than just a regular full set, but it helps build your brand and your name in the industry. So when I started doing lashes, brides started to come in, and something that happened was I started getting referrals from a lot of makeup artists in my area, people I'd never met before who had seen my work on other brides and have started sharing my name to their other clients saying, oh, if you want lash extensions for your wedding, I only recommend you get them if you go to Lash Oasis. I have brides now coming in from other cities just to get their lashes done by me for their weddings. So it also provides you with more professional photos for your portfolio. You do a bride, and after their wedding, you get all of these stunning photos with professional hair, professional makeup, professional photographer. It's the best they ever look. And you have all these professionals working together. So it gives you so much portfolio work to share on your Instagram and get your name out there. It often brings in more new clients in an organic way as well. I have lots of people who've come to me for their bridal lashes and have continued to get them ever since. They've never stopped. It is also really fun and rewarding to work with brides. I love working with brides. I think it's fun. And I love seeing the pictures and the final results. You get to hear about how their wedding day is going to go and all the things they've chosen to all come together, and seeing it all at the end of the day and having them be happy is honestly, there's nothing like it. So let's talk a little bit about bridal retention. We want our brides to look immaculate on their big day. In order to ensure this, I recommend scheduling the full set 3 to 5 days before the wedding day. This gives us a little bit of wiggle room if anything goes wrong. If there's a retention issue, I have a couple days to find them a spot and remedy that issue. Also, if let's say during the appointment before their wedding, they're opening their eyes, they're stressed, their eyes are fluttering and they get a little bit of fumes in their eyes, it can make it red. And these are things we obviously want to avoid, but sometimes you can't avoid these things. So having that 3 to 5 day wiggle room gives you time in case something like this does happen. I never like to do a bride the day before her wedding, just in case. Now, things like this shouldn't happen, but like I said, you can't, some things are out of your control. So this ensures they look fresh, gives you wiggle room, and if any sort of allergic reaction happens or something out of our control, we have time to adjust and support her in that. So I recommend using the Lash Pure Cleanser, a primer, an adhesive that matches your skill level for the best possible retention. I'm not skipping any of these when I'm working on a bride. I want to have a very clean and prepped canvas to start on. And now when I say you want to use an adhesive that matches your skill level for the best possible retention, my personal favorite is Bond Noir, and that's because it has a 0.5 second dry time. We also have Signature Bond, which is a little bit of a slower dry time with 1 to 2 seconds. So if you are a slower artist, I wouldn't recommend using Bond Noir just because I use it. You need to find one that's matching your speed. It's not drying too fast before you can get that extension on the natural lash. How should I charge for bridal lashes? So bridal appointments, they require a little bit more in-depth consultation as well as sometimes longer appointments. So should we be charging her extra for this additional time? If you want to, you can. A good starting point is an additional 10 to 20% to the services. Now, many people in the industry do charge a premium price for any bridal service, whether that's makeup, basically anything and everything. There's an additional fee if it's for a wedding. Now, I personally do not charge additional fees because I love doing brides and I want them to come to me. I have been a bride. Last year I was a bride and I got extremely fatigued with premium costs for everything. You reach out to someone and you're like, hey, I want a makeup service. And it's like, oh, well, you're a bride, so that will be $600 instead of my regular $300. So I don't feel good about doing it because I've experienced it. And I enjoy doing bridal appointments and I receive professional photos for my work. And for me, that's enough, but it might not be for you. So I think a 10 to 20% service charge is very reasonable, but it's really up to you. If you don't like doing brides and you find it extremely stressful and you want to kind of add that additional 10 to 20%, that makes sense. And I wouldn't hate you for it. So let's talk about some of our trending bridal lash looks for 2026, 2027. So fashion, makeup, lashes, hair, and bridal industries are continuously evolving through trends and phases. Staying up to date with current trends and techniques is essential to ensure that you are knowledgeable, educated, and able to provide your brides with high quality services. So that means you want to be continually upgrading your lash education. Like I said previously, if you're not comfortable with doing an eye analysis or you're not very good with volume fans, I think that it's a great idea to be, tuning into these sorts of webinars and seeking out upgraded education wherever you can. Our industry is constantly changing and evolving, and you need to stay up to date with what is happening now. Another way that I like to stay up to date on trends is I like to see what top forming bridal makeup artists are doing. What types of lashes are they applying? Are they doing just outer corner clusters? Are they applying really big strip lashes? I like to see what they're doing because usually they're pretty up to date on what all the brides are after, what they're looking for. And I also like to do a lot of research on Pinterest. Pinterest is one of the best places to see what's happening in the bridal industry. What are the makeup trends? What are the eye trends? What are people after? So we're going to go through some of the top inspo pictures that brides bring me, as well as I see on Pinterest. So one that's really popular right now is a wispy cat eye. It's an outer corner density focused set with sections of longer wispies. It's perfect for brides who are wanting a dramatic cat eye, but nothing too overpowering. So for top layer, I use CC curl closed fans, bottom layer C curl medium width fans, 5 to 8D, and I decrease the density in the inner corner a little bit. Next up, we have natural short wispies. It's a soft lash set that mimics the appearance of natural lashes. It's a more elevated classic. It's a little bit more comfortable because we're using a softer diameter, and it has longer retention than classics do. So top layer C curl 0.03 closed fans, bottom layer C curl 0.05 closed fans. And I like to keep it pretty short, similar to the bride's natural lash length, maybe a millimeter or two longer. This is also known as, people call it the angel set on Instagram a lot. And it's essentially like applying a classic set, but you're just using different diameters for a different texture. Next up, we have a wispy natural sweep. It's a dark lifted set with a lighter inner corner for a more natural soft appearance while still giving you that drama. So top layer CC curl in 0.07 narrow fans, bottom layer CC curl 0.07 medium width fans. This is probably the top for 2025 and I think 2026 as well. This is one of the most, like almost every bride has been showing me this specific inspo pic. So we have long and wispy. A long but thin lash set that's impactful, but not overpowering the bride's features. And that's the key. We don't want to overpower her eyes and have the lashes be the main focal point of everything. Even though it's long, you can still see the bride's eyelid crease. And that's always the key. We don't want to be doing a set where it's so dark and long that when her eyes are open and she's looking at you, you can no longer see any of her eyelid or the crease. So you can still give a bride a really dramatic, long set without having it swallow up her eyes. So top layer CC curl closed fans, bottom layer CC curl closed fans as well, just with a very large length differentiation so that you can still see through them a little bit and still see whatever eyeshadow look she's going for. Next up, we have the barely there lashes for the very, very natural bride. This is someone who has never worn extensions. They don't barely wear any makeup and are afraid of something too much on their eyes. So it's like mascara, but way better. These lashes keep people guessing. They can be created using a half set method or a glam lift. So a lift plus extensions. If you're not familiar with the half set method or the glam lift, you can go on to our website and we have previous webinars posted there. And you can go back and learn about these specific methods in an in-depth webinar as well. So I recommend checking that out and, perusing through and seeing what else you can learn on there. So for this, we could use a base lash lift. So we're doing a lash lift on the client, and then we're adding additional extensions on top for a little bit more impact. I usually like to use a M curl or a CC curl in closed fans, and I'm only putting about 30 to 50% coverage with the extensions. And this is just giving her a little bit more length, but still feeling really natural and very her. So something all of these sets have in common: they're wispy, they're not overly complicated mappings. It's very rare that I have a bride come in and want For instance, like an anime set. They generally want something wispy, something natural, something that enhances their eye features and their face, something that fits them. So we have a large focus on shape and quality, not just density and length. Bridal sets don't have to be revolutionary, but they do need to be designed and constructed with extra care and attention. So that means we are putting on symmetrical fans with the same amount on each one. We're taking that extra time to make sure that every lash we're putting on has intention and is constructed properly and applied properly. We want proper placement and we want to get proper coverage where it's needed. A lot of the times with brides, I will have them open up their eyes. I'll fan them off about 60 to 70% through the service. And I'll have a look and see if there's anything that I want to adjust midway through, just to make sure that I am hitting the mark with it. So let's talk about some must-haves in your bridal kit. It is crucial to have a large variety of curls, lengths, and diameters in your lash kit. So that means having brown and black extensions available, 0.07, 0.05, and 0.03. I personally like to stock both the runway and the plush. Our runway is a little bit of a shinier, it's a little bit more black and thick. So depending what the bride is after, I'm going to pick if I want plush, which is a little bit more like a mink where it's softer, it's a little bit more matte, it's a little bit less dark. So it's good to have all of these things on hand. You want to have C curl, CC, D, B, M. I also like to have lengths in 5 through 16. I want to be able to have the bride come in and I have it on hand and I am able to do whatever I need to do to give her what she's after without having to last minute order things or say, oh, I only have C curl, that's just what you get. It's her wedding and I want her to be happy with what is on her face. Do we have any questions? I don't think so.
I have a question.
Yep.
So let's say you do a bride and they have professional photos done. How do you go about being able to post it? Do you have any recommendations for what to say? Do you ask at all?
I do ask. I usually like to ask at the in-person consultation. So when they arrive, I am really warm, like happy, and I always just say like, hey, like when your wedding day actually happens, are you okay with sending me a couple pictures? Like I would love to share them on my Instagram. And like 9 times out of 10, they are giving you an enthusiastic yes, because it's people love sharing their wedding photos. Like when I got married, I was sending my wedding photos to whoever would look at them. Like I wanted them shared everywhere. So it's always good to ask. I like to ask before their wedding, just so that they know that I'm like looking forward to that as well and I'm invested. And I think it's best to ask before you even do the sets and say, hey, like, are you open to this? Is this something you'd be comfortable with? And then after their wedding day, usually they'll post their pictures online and I'll just shoot them a message and say, hey, can I also share these? And I think it's good to be upfront and yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, I don't think so. So we have some upcoming webinars. The next webinar we have is Beyond the Lash Bed, Mastering Client Management. This is going to be on June 16th at 11 a.m. by Irene. And you guys should keep up with our website. We are doing these webinars quite frequently. So take a peruse. We're going to be posting more webinar dates and more topics in, I think, a little while here. I think this is the only one we have posted right now, but it's free education and I mean, it doesn't hurt to join. Thank you for joining. We want to hear from you. So if you scan this QR code, you can give us feedback and let us know what other topics you would like to learn about in the future. We're doing these, like I said, pretty regularly. And if there's something that you're struggling with or you want to know more information about, let us know. We're open to taking on your ideas and continuing to educate you guys. You can find me at Lash Oasis on Instagram and TikTok. All right, everybody, that is everything for today. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed and learned something. And if you didn't get to catch this whole webinar, we're going to be posting this. It's all recorded and you can go back, rewatch, take screenshots, and